Hi everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I want to talk about the fact that I decluttered more makeup. I know I do quite a few makeup declutters, but I just like to keep my makeup collection somewhat minimal. I don't like to keep makeup products that I no longer use, that I no longer have joy using. And I do makeup declutters quite frequently, but I just love to keep my collection somewhat minimal and only keep the products that I genuinely enjoy using. So over the past couple of weeks, some makeup products have left my makeup collection. So today I thought it'd be fun to sit down and share with you guys which products have left my makeup collection and why. If you are new here, then hi, welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you found it. I upload beauty videos 4 times a week and I would love it if you subscribed. But for now, if you want to see which makeup products I have decluttered and why, then please keep watching. So I just have moved to the side slightly so I can insert the photos on the screen right here because I actually have already decluttered these products. I know some YouTubers like to go through their collections every now and then and declutter everything at once, but I'm personally someone, when I no longer enjoy using it, I just rather like give it away immediately or sell it, or if I haven't really used it a lot. So that's what I did as well. So that is basically why I no longer have these products. So my declutters sometimes look a little different. I basically just show you the photo and then we're going to talk about why I decluttered a certain product. And I think the 2 products I'm going to start with are going to be a shocker for some of you guys, because I actually decluttered 2 Natasha Denona palettes, and not just the minis, I decluttered 2 midi Natasha Denona palettes. And before you start freaking out, I'm going to tell you why. So the first one that I decluttered is the Natasha Denona Love palette, and this is maybe one, if you've been watching my videos, that isn't as much of a surprise because I shared this palette in a makeup on the chopping block video. So sometimes I do these makeup on the chopping block videos. I think Samantha March was like the one to come up with them, where basically you talk about products that you think about decluttering and then you basically ask your viewers' opinion, and you guys are always super helpful when I do these videos. So when I did share that I wanted to declutter my Natasha Denona Love palette, some of you guys said I should keep it, and that's why I kept it. But we're now like 3 months later maybe, and I have decided to declutter this palette, and let me tell you why. So when you look at this palette, you think it's a very me palette because I do love my pink eyeshadows. If you guys know me, I wear a lot of pinky mauve toned eyeshadows, and that's the main reason why I wanted to get this palette. This was my first ever Natasha Denona midi palette, and I really wanted to buy this because it has the beautiful pinks in there, and I just fell in love with this palette. But when I received it, I just wasn't so excited about it as I hoped I would. It was a pretty palette and it looked like I expected it to look. It looked absolutely gorgeous, but for some reason it just didn't look good on me. You know, I know sometimes people say like when they wear pink eyeshadow that they look like they've cried, and I never really have that issue, but I had that issue with this palette. The tones of pink in these shades just weren't really flattering for my eyes, and every time I wore a look, I just felt like it always looked sort of like off on me. I held on to this palette because of course I make YouTube videos and I thought it'd be helpful to have as a comparison. Just realistically speaking, how often do I show Natasha Denona comparisons on my channel? Not a lot. I am more of a smaller YouTuber, so I know like I don't have the biggest audience that like needs to see the comparisons. So I was just realistic with myself, and I thought, you know, it's much better to declutter this and give it to someone else instead of it just expiring in my makeup collection, because I think the last year I only reached like for that palette maybe 3 times, and for a €67 eyeshadow palette, that's way too little and such a waste, and that is why I decided to declutter this Natasha Denona Midi Love palette. And then, like I said, I decluttered another one, and I actually decluttered another midi palette from Natasha Denona, and the one that I decluttered next was the Midi Bronze palette. And this was one, when I bought it, I already sort of knew I would be likely to declutter it. So I got this palette when it was about 50% off on Look Fantastic. They had like a flash sale going on for I think the European soccer competition, and England was playing a match, so they had like a 50% deal going on a lot of products on the website, and this was included. So of course when I saw that deal, a Natasha Denona palette for like €33, I added to my basket, I checked out, and even though I knew I'm not the biggest warm tone fan, I still bought it. And I mean, I made a nice video out of it, I had some nice comparisons, but I almost never reach for it. I think I used that palette like 3 to 5 times over the last year since I got it, which really isn't a lot. And like I said, for a palette being that expensive, even though it was 50% off, the retail value is 67 euros, I just felt like it was going to waste in my collection, and I know I am not going to reach for it because I recently got my Patrick Top palette that I like the tones of more. I have some more like warm tone palettes that lean a bit more neutral that I like more, but this palette was truly a warm tone bronze palette, and that is just not something that I enjoy. So I was like, since I am decluttering my Natasha Denona midi love as well, my collection isn't going to be complete anymore. So it's not that big of a deal if I declutter the midi bronze as well. Before you freak out, I still have my midi retro palette, my pastel palette, I still have my mini palette. So I do still have Natasha Denona palettes in my collection. I absolutely love the palettes, I love the formula, and the only reason that I declutter these ones is because of the color story and not because of the formula. I also decluttered my Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette. This is probably not a surprise. I made a video about it and I tried that palette 3 or 4 times, and I genuinely can say I hated that eyeshadow palette. I have nothing against Makeup by Mario. I love the plumping lip serums, one of my favorite products in my collection, but this palette just did not work for me. I will put the video on the screen or link down below in case you're interested to see it, but I just really didn't like this palette. It was patchy on me, it didn't work, like all the looks I created with this just looked awful, and I tried it with an eye primer, without an eye primer, different brushes, and I just couldn't get it to work. So I think the day I filmed my review video was like the 3rd time I tried it. I declared that I was like, this palette is going to leave my house. I was getting so frustrated by it, and makeup should make you happy, so I just did not want to keep this palette in my collection. And since it was only gently used, I thought I would sell it to someone for like a lower price who's been wanting to try this one as well. So that palette has left my collection as well, and I have no regrets. I'm so glad that palette has left my house. Another one that I decluttered, I'm still not sure about if I should regret it, but I decluttered my Urban Decay Naked Honey, and the reason I think I regret decluttering this is because I think it's a very unique color story. This is like a warm toned color story, but it's more of like a warm toned yellowy gold, and I don't own any shades like that in my collection, so that's why I sort of think, you know, should I have kept this? But the reason I decluttered this was because I do not reach for this palette, and even though I think the tones are unique and pretty, I just never reach for them. I don't wear yellow eyeshadow a lot, I don't wear gold eyeshadow a lot, so I just decided to declutter it because it was just sitting in my drawer, and I just hate having makeup go to waste. I would much rather pass it on to someone else before it like expires. So I did decide to declutter the Urban Decay Naked Honey palette as well. Slightly regret it, but it was a good decision in the end. I also decluttered my Sigma Beauty Glow Kissed highlighter palette, and I do feel slightly guilty about this because this was one that was gifted by Sigma Beauty, which I thought was so sweet. Like, Sigma Beauty was basically like the first brand to ever send me a big box of makeup to try out, and I'm so thankful for that. I absolutely love their products, but this is a palette that I wouldn't have bought myself, mainly because it contains 6 shades and only 2 of them basically would work as a highlighter for me. And let me tell you, these highlighters are pigmented. If you are looking for a pigmented blinding highlighter, you may absolutely love this one, but for me it's just not the vibe I'm into these days. I decided to pass this on to someone else who would much rather enjoy it. Of course, I couldn't sell it, but I still wanted to give it to someone who would get a lot of use out of it instead of it just sitting in my drawer. And the issue with these 6-pan like highlighter palettes is the 6 shades are never all going to work for you. Usually there's 1 or 2, maybe 3 shades that look flattering on you, and then the other 3 are going to be too deep or maybe too light if you have a deep skin tone. So that is why I wouldn't have bought it with my own money, but I am super thankful for Sigma Beauty for gifting me this product, but I just didn't want to keep it in my collection and not using. So like I said, couldn't sell it, but still wanted to give it to someone as a gift who would much rather enjoy it than me. And the last product that I decluttered that I wanted to share with you guys today is my Becca highlighter in Vanilla Quartz. Let me tell you, I was so sad when I heard that Becca was going to close. Really, I was like, I should get a highlighter while I still can. I always wanted a Becca highlighter, but I never bought one because they were quite pricey. But when they were going out of business and the store that sells Becca here had like 30% off, I think. I just knew I had to pick one up to add to my collection. So I got Vanilla Quartz, and it is a beautiful highlighter. But basically what happened is I got this because Becca was closing, but then because Becca was closing, I never wanted to use it on my channel because it was no longer available. And I think Becca highlighters are now sold by Smashbox. I'm not entirely sure if they're like under the Smashbox name or if they're still called Becca highlighters, but I just felt like it wasn't really a relevant product anymore, and that is why I didn't want to use it on my channel. I would much rather use a product that's like more relevant at the moment, and since I upload 4 times a week, I am wearing makeup quite a lot that I'm also wearing in videos, so I just didn't really want to wear it, and then you guys want to buy it and it's like no longer available. So that is why I decluttered the Becca highlighter in a Vanilla Quartz. I think I only used it like 1 or 2 times, so I sold this one as well to someone who still wanted it for a really nice price, and now someone else is able to enjoy it. Okay everyone, then this was it for the makeup I decluttered this time. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I hope it wasn't like too shocking that I decluttered 2 Natasha Denona midi palettes. I still can't believe it while I'm saying it, but it was probably the best decision. I wasn't reaching for them, and makeup shouldn't go to waste in your collection. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a big makeup collection as long as you get use out of every single product, and if you don't, then maybe it's time to consider decluttering some products. But let me know what you think about the products that I declutter. Do you get why I decluttered them? Do you think I'm an idiot for decluttering them? I would love to hear your opinion. Please be honest. You can tell me anything. But if you did enjoy this video, then I would absolutely love it if you gave it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you don't want to miss any of my videos. All of these things would help me so into my channel, and I'd really appreciate it. But with that said, and to thank you guys all so much for watching, I really hope you have an amazing day, and I really hope to see you in my next video. Bye!